Okay, this is a review of common factoring. And before we start jumping right into the review, it's good to recognize where this comes from. So I'm going to remind us of distribution. So for example, if we had an expression like this, 2x times x squared minus 3x plus 7. And I said expand and simplify, you would say, okay, I got to distribute this 2x in with each of these terms. And we would get 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 14x. So the purpose of factoring is to work backwards. And there are lots of times where working backwards and getting from an expression, which is a sum of terms, to a product where I have this thing multiplied by that thing is really valuable, especially if I'm solving equations. So how do we work backwards? So let's pretend we don't know where we started from, and we're given this question, and the instruction is simply factor. So at this point, we look at each of the coefficients and we look for the largest number that, the greatest common factor among all the coefficients, or the largest number that goes into each. So in this case, it's 2. So I pull out a 2. But before we go any further, we also look at the variables and say, is there a minimum number of any variable that's in every term? And in this case, yeah, there's at least one x in each term. So how many x's can we take out? The least number, so 1x. So now to figure out what goes inside the bracket, what we're doing essentially is we're dividing each of these terms by 2x. Because to work backwards, we would distribute it. So they're all going to be multiplied when we distribute. So to figure out what it was, or undoing it, we divide. So 2x cubed divided by 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And I won't even write a 1. I'll just write the x cubed divided by x is x squared. Or in other words, I had 3 x's. I took one of them out. I'm left with 2 x's and a coefficient of 1. So then that sign we keep. That's a minus. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I had 2 x's, I took 1 out, or x squared divided by x is x. And finally, 14 divided, that's a plus, 14 divided by 2 is 7. And I had 1 x, I took it out, or x divided by x is 1, and I'm done. So that undoes the process of the distribution. So let's kick this up a notch, and let's make this really crazy. So let's say we got 25 x to the 7, y to the 5, z to the 4, minus 10, x to the 9, y cubed, z to the 7, plus 15, x to the 4, y to the 4, z to the 11. So we got this crazy expression, and we're asked factor. So we always want to start with common factoring if we can, and common factoring is what we're doing in this video anyway. So we look to the coefficients, the numbers, and say, what's the greatest common factor between 25, negative 10, and 15? And we say, okay, 5 goes into all of those numbers. So 5 is our greatest common factor. Now we look at each variable one at a time and say, what's the minimum number of each variable between all the terms? So we look at the x's, there's 7 here, 9 here, but only 4 here. So the most we can take out is 4 x's. Now we do the same with the y's, and we say, okay, there's 5 y's here, 3 y's here, 4 y's there. So the most number of y's we can take out is 3, which is the least term. And then we do it with the z's, and we see, oh, we can take out 4 z's. And now to figure out what's in the brackets, we go 25 divided by 5 is 5. And we had 7 x's, we took 4 out, that leaves us with 3. We had 5 y's, we took 3 out, that leaves us with 2. And we had 4 z's, we took all 4 out, there's no z's left, so we move on to the next term. We write down the sign, and we say, what's 10 divided by 5? That's 2. We had 9 x's, we took 4 out, so we got x to the 5. We had 3 y's, we took all 3 out, there's no y's left. We had 7 z's, we took out 4, so we got 3 z's left. And finally, we write down our plus. 15 divided by 5 is 3. We had 4 x's, we took out all 4, there's no x's. We had 4 y's, we took out 3 of them, we got 1 y left. We had 11 z's, we took out 4 of them, we've got 7 z's left. So hopefully that'll be enough to get you going for common factoring. Check out the other videos in the comments, and good luck with your exams.